Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to factor out a common factor here. Because, okay, normally when we're solving trig functions, solving trig equations, I mean, we try to isolate for the trig equation so that we can solve for theta. But in this case, that's hard to do because we have a secant cubed and we have a secant squared. So there's not much we can do for isolation here. So instead what we can do, if we just want to make this simple for ourselves, is we can factor out a secant squared. Because this has a secant squared, this has a secant squared. So if you take out secant squared, you're left with secant theta here. We took two of those secants away. And then if you take out a secant squared from here, well, this whole thing is gone, so we are just left with root 2. And then the zero product property says that if this piece is equal to 0, well, then 0 times whatever the heck this is equal to 0. If this piece is equal to 0, well, then 0 times whatever the heck this is equal to 0. So then we could just actually take these two pieces and set them equal to 0, and those will both give us solutions to this equation. Secant theta plus root 2 equals 0. Let's focus on this one first. So we get secant theta equals negative root 2. Okay, well, secant is the reciprocal of cosine, and cosine is equal to negative 1 over root 2 then, which we can then make negative root 2 over 2. We have to rationalize the denominator. So then we have to say, well, what values of theta is going to give us negative root 2 over 2 when we're dealing with cosine? Well, what we can do is we can just draw our unit circle, figure out where we even are first. So cosine is negative over here and over here. And then our reference angle, we know that cosine of pi over 4 is root 2 over 2. So then we better have a reference angle of pi over 4. So then this is going to be, this is 4 pi over 4 right here, 4 pi over 4. So then up here is going to be theta equals 3 pi over 4. And then down here is going to be theta equals 5 pi over 4. So there are two of our answers. If we plug in 3 pi over 4 for theta, we're going to get 0 here. If we plug in 5 pi over 4 for theta, again, we're going to get negative root 2 plus root 2, which equals 0. We figured that out by using cosine, the reciprocal of secant theta. By using cosine. Okay. So now we have to deal with this part. Secant squared theta equals 0. Well, secant squared is 1 over cosine squared theta equals to 0. Okay. There is nothing we can do, nothing we can plug into theta to make this thing 0, because we have 1 divided by whatever this is, right? There's nothing we can divide 1 by that's going to make the whole thing 0, right? So even if cosine is 0, right, that's 1 divided by 0, which is undefined. So this part has no solutions. It's not going to help us. So then our only two solutions come from this piece right here, which were 3 pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4. That's it. Those are our answers.